Okay, let's unpack this. You know that feeling, right? The one where you're just buzzing with anticipation.
Yeah, oh yeah.
You've got this big thing planned. Maybe it's a project, a client meeting, or like in this story, a senior year family beach trip.
Mm-hmm.
I can just picture it. Mentally packing, thinking about the beach, specific spots you want to hit. You're really invested. It feels like it's definitely happening.
Absolutely. And that kind of anticipation, it sets up a strong mental anchor. So when things change, the disappointment feels, well, even bigger psychologically.
Right.
We build these scenarios in our heads, and when reality suddenly shifts, it takes real cognitive adjustment.
Exactly.
Eh.
Because then comes the curveball. The serious voice, maybe they're not making eye contact, and then the words just drop. We're going to have to postpone. We just can't afford it right now.
Oof.
It's such a deflation, isn't it?
Hmm.
I think we've all had plans change like that. Those moments where what you expected just crashes into what's actually happening.
It really speaks to, well, just how uncertain life can be. Even the best plans can get hit by things you don't see coming, especially money stuff, which can stir up some deep feelings of insecurity.
Right. So that's what we're digging into today. We're looking at a personal account, a reflection, really from someone named Aurora. She went through this exact thing.
Hmm.
And our mission here isn't just to, talk about the bummer feeling, but to really get into the layers, what happened, the emotional roller coaster, and some surprising twists this whole thing took.
And what's interesting here is how that simple explanation, we can't afford it, it kind of opens the door to looking at family communication, how we cope with setbacks, and maybe how we figure out what actually makes us happy.
Okay, so Aurora's first reaction, as you'd guess, is just total disbelief. Her mind goes blank. The words aren't really landing.
Yeah.
This trip was planned for months, a big reward for finishing high school. So there's this huge letdown, like a balloon just popping. She even says her heart began to crack and she felt tears threatening to spill. It's a big emotional hit.
That initial shock, it can almost be like a buffer, right? A little pause while your brain starts to catch up with the bad news. And those physical reactions she describes, they really show how much this trip meant to her, how intense that blow felt.
And then, naturally, the questions start. Aurora is asking her parents, trying to make their explanation fit with what she knows about their finances.
Right.
She's thinking, money had always been tight, but we weren't struggling.
Yeah.
That mismatch, it creates this real cognitive dissonance for her,
Yeah.
like a puzzle piece that just won't fit.
That's a very human thing, isn't it? We want things to make sense, to line up logically. When something contradicts what we thought we knew, we try to figure it out.
Yeah.
Her view of their usual money situation really highlights how unexpected this was and why she felt she needed more answers.
Which leads her to, well, take matters into her own hands.
Hmm.
Late one night, she needs to understand, so she decides to look through the family's financial papers. She knows where her mom keeps the bills, this specific drawer near the kitchen. It's a small detail, but it really makes the story feel grounded, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. That specific detail, it paints a picture, and it shows Aurora taking initiative. She's not just accepting the news, she's actively trying to understand what's behind it, maybe feeling like she wasn't getting the whole story.
And she finds something, but maybe not what she thought she'd find. It's not like proof of overspending or anything.
What was it?
It's a loan application for major home repairs. She talks about her reaction. My heart skipped a beat. My stomach sank. It's clear this is it. This is the real reason.
Okay. So it shifts things, doesn't it? It's not just a lack of funds. It's a conscious choice they made for something important, something long-term for the family. That adds a whole layer of complexity for Aurora.
Exactly. It forces her to see it from their side, not just her own disappointment.
Mm.
And with this new information, Aurora's view totally shifts.
Mm-hmm.
That initial disappointment starts to fade, and instead she feels, well, guilt and empathy for her parents.
Mm-hmm.
She thinks, how could I be angry at them for something they did for the family? She starts to get the weight of their responsibilities, what they're juggling for everyone's well-being.
That's a really big moment of, emotional growth. She's showing she can look beyond her own wants and see the bigger picture, the pressures her parents might be under. That kind of perspective taking, that's key for empathy.
So this leads to a pretty crucial conversation with her mom. Aurora comes clean, says she found the loan papers, and tells her mom she understands now, apologizes for being upset before.
How did the mom react?
Interestingly, her mom admits they hesitated to tell her everything. They wanted to shield her. protect her from the financial stress.
Yeah, that's a really common dynamic, isn't it?
Yeah.
Parents trying to protect kids from money worries, but sometimes it backfires and causes misunderstandings.
Totally.
It highlights those different viewpoints in a family. The parents thinking long-term stability, the kid focused on the immediate plan, and how tricky talking about money can be.
Okay, now here's where the story takes another turn. An unexpected one. Just as Aurora's kind of processing all this, her best friend, Sophie, throws her a lifeline. She invites Aurora for a short, free beach trip to her aunt's empty beach house down south.
Wow, okay. Talk about timing.
Right? Talk about a contrast to the big family vacation she was imagining.
That brings in that element of resilience and how important friends and support systems are when you're dealing with disappointment. But it also gives Aurora a whole new thing to think about.
Exactly. Because now she has this internal conflict. On one hand, hey, a beach trip, an escape, just what she wanted.
Is on the other hand,
On the other hand, she's now super aware of her parents' money situation. So she makes a really thoughtful move. She decides to talk to her mom about it first.
that shows real growth, doesn't it? She's thinking about communication, about how her choices affect the family, not just jumping at the chance. She learned something from the first cancellation.
Yeah, definitely. And her mom's reaction is really quite insightful. She gets that Aurora needs a break, but she also gently adds, family still comes first.
Mm,
It's a balanced response, right? Validating Aurora's feelings, but also reinforcing their family values.
that sounds like healthy parenting. Empathy, but also guidance. The mom sees Aurora's emotional needs, but also keeps the family context in mind. It's not just a yes or no, it's more nuanced.
So Aurora goes on this impromptu trip, and it sounds like it was just the ticket.
Yeah.
She describes feeling free, relaxed, reconnecting with her friends. We get these nice little details. The beach house wasn't fancy, but the ocean view was amazing. Simple stuff like barbecues, bonfires on the beach. It paints this picture of finding joy in simplicity.
Those sensory details really matter. They show how happiness isn't always tied to big, expensive plans. You can find connection and joy in simpler settings. It shifts the focus from what she lost to what she gained in that moment.
And it's during this simpler trip that Aurora has this kind of aha moment.
Okay.
She realizes that happiness doesn't just come from the big planned events, that she needed to appreciate the small joys right in front of her and stop focusing so much on what she didn't have. It's a real perspective shift.
That's such a key realization, isn't it? Learning to find contentment that doesn't depend entirely on external stuff. That's a huge life skill for dealing with, well, life's inevitable ups and downs. Shifting from needing things outside to finding happiness inside.
She even talks about it with Sophie, saying how this unexpected trip helped her get perspective and let go of the bitterness about the canceled family vacation. It really shows how friends can help us process things.
Absolutely. That change of scenery, plus the support from a friend, it probably created the space she needed for that internal shift. Shows the power of connection for resilience and well-being.
So when she gets back home, Aurora has this really open, honest talk with her mom. Tells her about the trip, but also shares her new understanding and appreciation for what her parents did, the sacrifices.
And the mom.
Her mom's relieved, obviously, and also really proud of how mature Aurora's being about it all.
That open communication, it really strengthens the relationship, doesn't it? Turns what started as a negative into something positive. Aurora's honesty validates her mom's earlier decision, maybe, and shows a new level of trust between them.
And her dad chimes in, too, adding a really nice point. He reminds Aurora that the time they spend together as a family, that's what's truly valuable, more than fancy vacations or material things. Brings it back to their core values.
That really reinforces the main theme, doesn't it? That experiences and relationships often bring more lasting satisfaction than stuff or perfect plans. A gentle reminder of what really counts.
So this whole deep dive kind of wraps up with Aurora reflecting on it all. The canceled trip was upsetting at first, sure, but it ended up teaching her so much about appreciating the present, finding happiness even when things go wrong, and feeling more in control of her own story.
Yeah,
It's a great example of finding strength in unexpected situations.
it really is. The story shows beautifully how adversity, even something like a postponed trip, can actually spark significant personal growth. It builds resilience, empathy, and a deeper appreciation for family complexities.
So what does this all mean for you listening?
Well, I think the big takeaway here is that those moments of disappointment, the plans that go sideways, the unmet expectations, They aren't always just dead ends.
Right.
Sometimes, maybe even often, they can lead to unexpected insights, a better understanding of ourselves or others, and maybe a different kind of happiness than we first imagined. It's about finding those hidden paths to growth, even when you're disappointed.
This story really encourages us to look past that first emotional hit when things go wrong, to stay open to the possibility that something positive, some valuable lesson might actually come out of it.
So here's a final thought for you to mull over. Can you think back to a time in your own life when a disappointment, something that felt like a setback, unexpectedly opened a door, maybe taught you something important, or shifted your perspective in a way you appreciate now? It's worth thinking about how those detours sometimes lead us to pretty variable places we didn't plan on going. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.